So that I saw people tweeting about that and just how the strangeness of it suddenly being like only one of you will stay when neither of them were ever doing anything.
Well, how does fired Rhino differ from never seeing Rhino on TV? What difference does it make to me? You could have told me Rhino was fired a month ago, like for real.
Right.
I have no idea.
But then I did see that he gave a speech during the commercial, so it sounded like he was really just possibly retiring, either way leaving, and so this was just they decided basically to put him on TV to write him out.
But it was weird because they did have a goodbye to Rhino backstage video.
Right. This is
for somebody who never appears on TV. That's why it's just so weird. I get that his legacy, from ECW forward, is notable, more notable than say if Ty Dillinger just got fired that way. But it is still weird for somebody who rarely got TV time to all of a sudden be sort of presented in this way. It's just short of an actual video package of saying goodbye to Rhino with sad music.
Right. Well, this reminds me of when Scott died on the original Beverly Hills 90210. Scott had been a notable supporting character in the first season, but as David became popular, Scott was really pushed to the side, almost never appearing, while David was very prominent. And then they did the ad saying, tonight they will lose one of their own, with them all standing solemnly, and Scott was in the damn picture. Scott, who hadn't done anything important in a year. Guess who died that night?
We can talk about. There might be a sort of a podcast thread we could do with best friends of the geeks who sort of leave us like Xander's friend, like their friend in season 1 of Buffy, or some people who just sort of get written out, of the original school cast.
Right. They dissipate away. I mean, hey, even the 100. I always joke that they should suddenly show Kelly who was only in the pilot, but never written out. She should have just pop up.
Remind me, did Kelly who make it down to the surface, or do we just assume?
We never see her after the pilot. So, at this point, you have to assume she died because there's so many ways people have died on the 100 in groups, but. What if she didn't? What if she's just been off screen this whole time, and in the series finale, she should just kind of wander on,
most people die on the 100. It is sort of, it's not quite Final Destination, but it might as well be.
Right.
Maybe she just hit her head on the spaceship. I don't know. It didn't make it down. Let's see. Oh, so we have to talk about Dean Ambrose. That's the other big segment from Raw coming out. So last week, I know I did say that they should double down on Dean sort of being this clean freak and this germaphobe if they're going to do that.
Double down Dean clean.
double down clean Dean.
That would be a great new full name. Double down clean Dean.
I would say that if you looked at pictures of Raw and what Dean was doing, it looked decent. It looked pretty decent Dean. I think I get that it could have been a cool moment. You've got all these guys coming out. I guess they were being referred to as a SWAT team. There were a lot of obvious comparisons to League of Shadows because of his jacket and his mask, even though, Bane's not wearing a gas mask. But I feel like he did very purposely wear that jacket with
I think so for sure.
With the collar. Mm-hmm. But it was also very Purge-like because of the siren that started it. I think it was a big jumble. It was like a jambalaya of a lot of different movie elements, most of which were from The Dark Knight Rises. But then when he spoke, he was still doing that. And he did it again very, very prominently. What's that smell? He said that. He did
the Clue.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So now we've moved on from
back to Clue.
We've moved on from No Holds Barred and the Dookie to Tim Curry's poo shoe and Clue.
What if the Clue what's a spell and then Tim Curry's in the crowd with his shoe?
Everyone in that arena thinks they stepped in shit because Tim Curry's poo shoe from Clue. He's just
Would have been
stinking
an
up
amazing payoff.
everywhere he goes. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe Dean stepped in shit like 3 weeks ago, and it's been following around. He's like, seriously, guys, something stinks, and he can't figure it out. You are more in tune with their coupling than I am, I believe. Do they have a dog, Renee and Dean?
I don't remember. I feel like they might, but I don't remember.
Okay, I feel like they would. I feel like they'd have a dog. I feel like Dean would probably relate to that dog more than human beings. So,
Right.
I feel like he needs a dog. So I want to ask you, Eric, what was his message? What was he saying when you break down his words? What was his whole thing?
You all stink.
Okay.
And Seth Rollins sucks. And
But specifically why everyone came out in those masks. He came out with a mask, but he took it off. So what good is
again,
that?
it's like because he'd been inoculated. Again, it's like, okay, so they're because I remember saying a couple weeks ago that I wish they weren't doing Dean just hates every city like heel approach. That there's more, it just doesn't seem like they need to with him. But now they're going like deep dive. It's like they sicken him. Like he literally feels like these people will sicken him.
He's almost a bubble boy. Like
he's almost a bubble boy.
His immune system is so poor that he everywhere he goes, he's in danger.
He really shouldn't be wrestling. That's my main takeaway.
This is not a wise move. It's not a wise decision on WWE's part to let a man so fragile. His constitution is so weak. But Dean, I don't understand. He's like, I need this protection from you people, but also from Seth, and the Shield made us weak. I couldn't actually grapple what the focus was here. I think it was all over the place. I think it kind of looked fun, but I don't think they drove it home the way they should have. I don't think they really had a clear idea. I still don't think they have a really clear idea of why Dean's heel.
Yeah.
They never really, he's all over the place, and so is his messaging, and I don't think they ever really figured out why he turned on Seth.
Right, because, again, I think there was something interesting to him saying basically, like, the sins of what we did, and he was counting himself among them, but now it's just, I hate everyone. You're all stinky, and you'll make me sick,
yeah,
and I hate
everyone's
you.
got Pushu and needs to stay far away from me.
Right, and then, he was like, he basically, like, called out Seth and Roman for, like, loving the adulation of the crowds, they kind of sold out the Shield, he was saying. But again, that's getting away from any of the sins of what we did that we can't talk about, or, that was at least more intriguing than just you like the crowds and I hate the crowds.
In the end, it was still a rehash.
And you all smell like poo.
Yeah. You suck, Amber, and you smell like poo.
And you smell like poo.
2 weeks ago, though, it was the same segment. Again, if we're talking about repeating what they've already done, Seth ran down, attacked Dean, eventually got overpowered again and beat up. It was the same thing, except now with costuming, sort of elaborate SWAT team purge / Bane packaging on Dean Ambrose. So I will say that one big difference, and maybe this puts the issue to bed. I don't know. They went to Renee, and they were like, Renee, once again, what up with this? And she said she got angry. She was like, for F's sake, it's confidential what happens between closed doors in a husband and wife. This is none of your business. I'm trying to do my best here. No one is entitled to know what goes on in our relationship. Yeah. So she kind of closed the door on that, and I think that's good because I don't want them going to her every week. It's a weird push and pull because it is awkward if they totally ignore her, but it's also awkward and annoying if they go to her every single Raw after Dean does something crazy.
Yeah. So, I agree, but I also feel I feel like they're not done. Like I feel like they're gonna still do the prodding, and I don't know. Again, they might not know what they're gonna do with it. Because at a certain point, what is there to do unless she turns heel?
Well, that's the only way they could really save the entire thing and give Dean clear reasoning why he did what he did, is if it's all her idea.
Right, right.
That solves everything. And then then she could be like, yeah, it's been horrible. For the past month, he's had Project Mayhem in our living room. And like all these guys have been sleeping on our couch and it's awful. Like, I don't even know these people.
This is when they play the Saw reveal music and they show her like coming up with the plan.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And then then you'll tell them they all stink.
Because they
Like
do, they
cock
smell
up
it.
poo-poo.
Cock-a-doodie. Let's see. Lucha House Party. You have been missing this, but
Don't exist, but
it's-
yes.
it's a situation where they've got the 3 luchador wrestlers, and
I saw them at some point. So either they made the Hulu cut, or maybe I saw them when I was watching Raw in New York. I saw them at some point, but they're like a dream to be mad. They're like ethereal.
But they're
dream.
infuriating because they cheat, and they are constantly allowed to wrestle under Lucha House Party rules, which is the 3 of them versus anyone else. So whether or not they're facing a tag team, which is just 2 people, it's 3-on-2. This week, Scott Dawson, I believe, if I'm getting him correct, not to feed into who's Dawson and who's Wilder. Scott Dawson was like, I could take on any of you by myself. So he thought he was entering a singles match. And then JoJo was like, this is Lucha House Party's rules. And so he had to face 3 people. And it didn't make any sense. First of all, it doesn't make any sense why heroes would want that kind of like handicap advantage. Secondly, it didn't make sense why once Scott Dawson learned that he was wrestling 3 people, Dash Wilder couldn't have joined and at least made it 2-on-3.
Sure.
Thirdly,
Was he at least ringside? Or
yes, he was.
Okay.
Thirdly, why is Baron Corbin allowing this? He's the one who's breaking rules for heels,
Yeah.
not for baby faces. Why is he allowing this? Fourthly, the only conclusion we can come to is that the person controlling this is JoJo. Because she's the one who chimes in. By the way, this is under Lucha House Party. I think JoJo's just totally messing with the revival. I think it's all her doing, and Lucha House Parties don't exist. But it does bring me to, I think this is funny, because if you break down what the babyfaces did on Raw this week, Finn Balor cheated to help Dolph Ziggler beat Drew McIntyre. He then threw Lio Rush into the pathway of Elias's guitar hit. He smashed him with his guitar. Lucha House Party cheated to win. Basically, the babyfaces, when you break them down, are doing, it's always that weird thing where they're doing actually the heel moves, and the heels are, if you break down on paper what they're doing, they're the good guys. So somebody on Twitter actually did, and this comes from a guy named, on Twitter, his handle is GifSkull. Mm-hmm. He said, let's look at the current heels on WWE's main roster. Responsible drinking advocate Samoa Joe.
Hey.
The Revival, who want fair wrestling matches. Jinder Mahal, who seeks inner peace. Shinsuke Nakamura, an American patriot. Drew McIntyre, who has a strong work ethic and doesn't want people to phone in their performances. Baron Corbin, who delegates authority to women. Dean Ambrose, who promotes vaccinations.
Yes, he does.
And Daniel Bryan, who promotes environmental conservation. Like, these are the heels.
Right.
And so
we'll talk more about Daniel Bryan in a minute, but yeah.
But I retweeted it on my Twitter, but it's funny to look at because the antithesis of that are the baby faces and what they're doing. And it also all goes back to right to censor and the straight edge society and people like the preachy vegans or straight edge people or the people who's like, you can't do this when America's about freedom.
Yeah.
And so anybody who tries to tell you what to do, even if it's for your best, is the enemy.
Right.
Like, wear your seatbelts, boo.
Boo! So yeah. It is. It's an odd thing, and the Daniel Bryan thing was. I that was a thing where I was seeing you tweet about it a lot before I saw his segment, but I was excited. Like, what is this? Where is he going with this?
Well, mostly, where's the lie? Right? So when he starts ranting about everything.
Yeah.
He's just telling the truth, and we don't want to hear it, and maybe he's loud and angry about it, and he could come up with a better way of communicating what he believes in, but yeah, it's like we don't like to be told what to do, and to be told what we're doing isn't good enough. And to be told, especially be told what we're doing is harmful to ourselves and other people and to the planet, because freedom. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan